Imagine this, she has 10 men messaging her right now. Some are richer. Some are more handsome. Others might be funnier, more charming, more polished. Yet, none of that truly matters. Because attraction has never been about the man who shines the brightest on the surface. Attraction belongs to the man who sees what no one else notices. Most men waste their energy trying to be chosen. They compete with money, with looks, with endless effort. They send more texts, more compliments, more promises. But here's the truth. They lose the moment they start competing. Because competition itself is weakness. The moment you fight for her attention, you silently admit that her approval is the prize, and your worth depends on whether she gives it to you. Think carefully about this. When you rush to win her, what are you really saying? You're saying, choose me, so I can feel valuable. And the instant your actions reveal this need, you hand her the power. She becomes the judge. You become the applicant. That is not attraction, that is surrender. And no woman truly desires the man who gives away his strength. Look around. You will see the same pattern everywhere. Men trying to outshine one another with desperate effort, texting too often, giving exaggerated compliments, spending more money, chasing harder. They believe this proves they are valuable, but in reality, it only proves their desperation. And women sense desperation instantly. It has a smell. It whispers, this man does not see himself as valuable unless I approve of him. The truth is simple, a woman is not drawn to the man who tries the hardest to please her. She is drawn to the man who does not need to try at all. The man whose presence speaks louder than his effort. The man who knows he is enough, with or without her. His value comes from within, not from her reaction. And here lies the paradox, the more you compete, the weaker you look. The less you compete, the stronger you become. Real power is never proven by how much you chase, it is proven by how calmly you stand. And when a man stands strong in his own worth, without begging, without proving, without chasing, that is when a woman feels something far deeper than attraction. She feels respect. She feels desire. This is why the man who competes for her attention fades quickly from her memory. But the man who refuses to compete, he is the one she cannot forget. Now, consider another trap most men fall into, predictability. Out of 10 men in her phone, 9 behave exactly the same. They all send the same, good morning, beautiful, text. They reply within seconds, as if they have no life outside of waiting for her message. They flood her with attention, believing that more effort will make her want them more. But what really happens? She feels boredom. Because predictability does not create attraction, it kills it. When a man becomes predictable, she already knows what he will say, when he will text, and how he will react. There is no tension, no spark, no mystery. And in human psychology, mystery is oxygen, it keeps curiosity alive, and curiosity fuels desire. Without it, there is only comfort. And comfort, though pleasant, is forgettable. Women forget the men who follow the script. They blur together, but she always remembers the man who breaks the pattern. The man who doesn't act like the rest. Not because he plays childish games, but because he moves to his own rhythm. His life is not dictated by her approval. This is where true magnetism begins. Think about it. Mystery is not confusion. Mystery is what makes her ask questions. Why hasn't he replied yet? Why does he notice things no one else sees? What makes him different? Those questions create energy. That energy becomes attraction. And that attraction becomes obsession. The men she forgets are the ones she can easily read. But the man she remembers forever, is the one she could never fully solve. This is where inverted power begins, when the one who is supposed to chase, is instead being chased. Think carefully, most men believe that the woman has the advantage, because she has endless options. But that is only true for men who see themselves as one of many. The man who shifts the dynamic no longer lives in her world of options, he makes her live in his. How? By refusing to play the role she expects. When every other man is busy proving themselves, he does the opposite. He withdraws his energy, he withholds his validation, and he allows her to feel something she rarely feels, the absence of attention. And in that silence, something powerful awakens. She begins to notice him. She begins to question. She begins to crave what she cannot control. Here is the secret most men will never understand. Women are not addicted to attention, they are addicted to emotion. Attention is cheap. She gets it all day, everywhere she goes. What she doesn't get is the unpredictable spark of emotion, the feeling of not knowing what will happen next, the feeling of being slightly off balance, the thrill of being seen in a way others cannot see her. That is what creates obsession. A man who understands this never wastes energy on empty flattery. He knows that shallow compliments are worthless. They do not separate him from the crowd. What does? Precision. The ability to notice what others ignore. Not her beauty that everyone comments on, but the subtle detail in her laughter, the hidden tension in her voice, the contradiction in her words. When you notice what others miss, she feels exposed, but in a way that excites her, not scares her. Because for the first time, she feels truly seen. And here's the paradox again, the moment she feels truly seen, she is no longer the one in control. Because being seen awakens vulnerability. Vulnerability awakens connection. And connection, once formed, is not easily broken. This is why the man who refuses to compete does not just stand apart, he flips the game entirely. He becomes the one she pursues. Most men fear this dynamic. They believe that if they don't constantly chase, she will lose interest. But the reality is the opposite. Interest grows in the spaces you leave unfilled. Desire lives in the unknown, not in the predictable routine. When she cannot fully read you, when she cannot fully own your attention, she invests more of herself to figure you out. And in that process, she binds herself to you. This is the foundation of psychological dominance, not by force, not by manipulation, but by mastering the art of controlled distance. Because distance, when used correctly, is not emptiness, it is magnetism. It makes her lean closer, search harder, and give more. Now, understand this carefully, distance alone is not enough. If you withdraw but offer nothing of value, she feels only emptiness. What makes distance powerful is the contrast. When you pull away, she feels your absence. But when you return, she feels your presence with twice the intensity. This rhythm, absence and return, silence and presence, is what conditions her emotions. It makes her attached not to who you are in one moment, but to the unpredictable flow of who you are across time. And here lies the deeper truth: people are not addicted to people. They are addicted to the emotions those people create. If you can create emotions she cannot predict, you become unforgettable. And once unforgettable, you cannot be replaced. This is why the man who understands psychology never fears competition. He knows there is no competition. Because another man may offer more money, more words, more effort, but no one else can offer the unique emotional experience that only he can create. And in the end, it is not the tallest man, the richest man, or the most handsome man who wins. It is the man who knows how to shape what she feels without ever losing himself. This is the moment the dynamic shifts forever. Because when she realizes that she is the one seeking your validation, not the other way around, attraction transforms into something much deeper. It becomes obsession. And obsession is the strongest force in human desire. Attraction alone is never enough. A spark can light quickly, but if you cannot control the flame, it burns out just as fast. This is where most men fail. They create a moment of interest, but they cannot sustain it. Why? Because they believe attraction is something you get instead of something you guide. Control begins with understanding this. Emotions are not logical. A woman does not stay because of facts, lists, or reasons. She stays because of how she feels when she is around you. If you can guide her emotions, you guide her decisions. And guiding emotions requires rhythm, moments of intensity followed by moments of calm, moments of presence followed by moments of distance. This rhythm is not random, it is deliberate. Think of it like music. A song without silence is just noise. A song without change is just repetition. But the right pauses, the right shifts, the right contrasts, these are what make music unforgettable. Attraction works the same way. Too much attention, and she feels smothered. Too little, and she feels abandoned. But the balance of presence and absence creates emotional waves. And humans are wired to bond with the source of those waves. Here is the subtle art: you must never let her fully predict you. If she knows exactly when you will call, exactly what you will say, exactly how you will respond, her emotions flatten. But when you are warm one moment and calm the next, when you surprise her with depth instead of routine, she begins to lean in, searching for stability inside of you. And in that search, she invests herself deeper. This is not manipulation in the cruel sense. This is influence, the awareness that people crave tension and release. Without it, relationships become static. With it, relationships become magnetic. And the man who masters this rhythm holds a power that no money or looks can replace. But emotional control goes deeper. Most men think control means withholding. They go cold, distant, unavailable. But that is not control, that is laziness. True control is precision. Knowing when to pull away, when to lean in, when to challenge, and when to comfort. Each move is intentional, each response calibrated. This is not about being cold, it is about being centered. A man who is centered can move between warmth and silence with ease. And that fluidity creates unpredictability, the most powerful stimulant for desire. Now consider this, women test men not because they are cruel, but because they are searching for stability. They push, they provoke, they challenge, because they want to feel the edges of your strength. Most men break under these tests. They become reactive, emotional, defensive. And in that moment, the woman sees weakness. But the man who remains calm, collected, unmoved, he communicates something stronger than words: I cannot be shaken. That presence, that calm under pressure, creates a sense of safety that is deeply attractive. Understand this truth: safety is not about protection from the world, it is about protection from instability. If she feels that you are easily swayed, she cannot trust you. But if she feels that you remain unshaken by her storms, she can surrender to you fully. And when a woman surrenders, not in body first, but in mind, her loyalty deepens into something unbreakable. This is why control is not about domination, it is about stability. It is about becoming the unmoving center of her emotional storm. Because every woman has storms. But only the rare man becomes the eye of that storm, the place of calm she cannot find anywhere else. And once you become that place, you no longer have to chase her. She will return again and again, not because you demand it, but because her own emotions pull her back. Her heart begins to whisper a truth she cannot ignore: I don't just want him. I need him. That is the difference between attraction and power. Attraction excites her. Power binds her. Attraction begins with curiosity. Desire grows through emotional rhythm. But long-term influence, the kind that makes a woman remember you even years later, comes from transformation. Because here is the deepest truth: people never remember the details of what you said. They rarely even remember the details of what you did. What they never forget is how you changed them. The man who leaves a permanent mark is not the one who entertains her the most, not the one who gives her the most gifts, not even the one who spends the most time with her. It is the man who awakens a side of her she did not know existed. The man who shows her a version of herself she had never seen before. That is the ultimate power, not to dominate her life, but to elevate it. This is why true influence is never loud. It does not shout, it does not demand, it does not beg. It plants seeds. Seeds of thought, seeds of emotion, seeds of possibility. And once those seeds are planted, they grow inside her without you even being present. She hears your words in her silence. She feels your presence in your absence. She compares every man after you to the standard you set. That is the essence of unforgettable. Understand this carefully: obsession is not built in one moment, it is built across time, through contrast and depth. Most men are flat, one-dimensional. They show only one side, either too nice, or too distant, too logical, or too emotional. But the man who becomes unforgettable is multi-layered. He can be calm and intense, strong and playful, mysterious and open. He contains contradictions, and those contradictions make him endless. Because the human mind cannot stop circling around what it cannot fully solve. This is why she keeps returning, not always in body, but always in thought. Even if she walks away, even if time passes, a piece of her remains tethered. Because she is not addicted to you, she is addicted to the way you made her feel about herself when she was with you. And that is something no replacement can erase. Here is where most men destroy everything: they try to lock her down too quickly. They think possession equals power. But possession suffocates. True power is not in caging her, it is in making her realize that even with all her freedom, she chooses you. Again and again. Choice is stronger than control. When she feels free yet bound, that is when loyalty transforms into devotion. The art, then, is not to chase her shadow but to build a gravity so strong that she orbits you naturally. Gravity does not beg. Gravity does not plead. Gravity simply exists, unshaken, undeniable, constant. That is the energy of a man who has mastered himself. Because in the end, the final secret is this: influence begins with her, but it ends with you. If you are unstable, her emotions will rule you. If you are centered, her emotions will follow you. If you are empty, she will consume you. But if you are full of purpose, full of vision, full of unshakable presence, then she will not just want you. She will align with you. And when a woman aligns with a man's essence, she doesn't just follow him, she becomes part of him. That is the end game. Not attraction. Not validation. Not even seduction. The end game is transformation, of her, yes, but more importantly, of yourself. Because the man who can master this path is not just unforgettable to women. He becomes unforgettable to the world.